Let's talk about what it's like living and working in New York City as an author who is scared of cities. This video might get a little weird. I write fantasy fiction because it's an excellent escape from the darker roads my mind enjoys traveling. Without the distraction of writing, my obsessive-compulsive disorder very quickly takes control of my thoughts, forcing me into unproductive obsessions that can be alarmingly difficult to escape. When I was younger, these obsessions squeezed themselves into hilariously nonsensical rituals that I believed I had to enact, or if I didn't, literally perish as a consequence. For example, if the number of times I tapped the steps up to my bunk bed did not equal my age plus 1, of course, for some reason, I was certain I would expire during the night. These days, my OCD is less interested in rituals and more engrossed with grabbing onto the sort of stray thoughts that I understand are fleeting for most people and forcing them to the center of my mind while keeping them there until there's little room for anything else. I might decide, completely without rational backing or evidence of any kind, that a stray freckle on my arm is proof of a terminal condition, and then spend an hour or more plotting out what the next and final months of my life will entail, all without realizing any time has passed at all. To be clear, I don't enjoy doing any of this. I don't want to do this at all. I'm certainly not proud of it, nor am I proud of how it can affect those around me. I've explored many methods of therapy and medication that promise to stop me from obsessing, yet it happens nevertheless, despite all these efforts. The best way that I have to prevent harmful obsession is by attempting to steer it towards productive activities or productive obsession. Writing is the perfect defense against obsession because it demands my entire attention, leaving little space for morbid notions to claim. If I'm gonna obsess over something, why not let it be a fictional world? While I haven't been successful in controlling my OCD, I have identified a major driving factor: anxiety. Anxiety is the oxygen that fuels obsession's fire, and one of the situations that elicits the most anxiety in me is crowds. If I'm being honest, crowd is probably an overstatement. It only takes a handful of people to spike my heart rate and drive my anxiety through the ceiling, which is why you may be somewhat surprised to hear that I live in New York City. Yet it's my unlikely relationship with New York City, and therefore my anxiety, that both builds and demolishes my motivation and inspiration. New York City is many things, but like all cities, its character is defined by the swelling mass of people who occupy its buildings, eat at its restaurants, visit its attractions, and ride its trains. Even though I grew up here, I never acclimated to its crowds. I'll do anything to avoid crowds and almost anything to avoid even small gatherings of people. My introversion must be baked into my genetics because no amount of exposure therapy has eased the anxiety that builds in lockstep with the number of humans in my vicinity. Even through my apartment's walls, I sense the presence of others boxing me in like a circus elephant trapped in a container, traveling the world aboard a cargo ship to nowhere. At first, all the elephant wants is to escape its cage, but after a while, it grows accustomed to the comfort and security of its container. When it does eventually emerge, the sights, sounds, and smells of the open world are terrifying, so it hides. New York City sits upon my shoulders with a weight I don't even sense until it's lifted away during excursions into nature. The farther I stray into a forest or desert or other landscape, the more relaxed I become. Natural landscapes siphon away my stress just as quickly as New York piles it on. Why then do I live here? First, my family lives here. Second, my partner lives here and enjoys the convenience of living in a large city. Third, stress keeps me productive as long as I don't stray too far into the realm of stress-induced insanity. Relaxation breeds complacency, and Complacency leads to a lack of production. I enjoy producing work and writing, drawing, and now making these videos, which I'm pleased to see at least a few people seem to enjoy. Anything that results in a product that stands as evidence of my mind having created artifacts external to my thoughts. This month, I decided to begin writing a new novel. I'm about 45,000 words into another novel, but I still have some plot points to tweak for the closing half of that book. Resolving these points can't be rushed, so in the meantime, I'll dedicate a portion of each day to starting in on a new idea. Today, though, I'm beginning not by writing, but with a drawing. Sometimes when I need to brainstorm, sitting and staring out the window or at a blank sheet of paper is unproductive. As I mentioned earlier, my mind tends to wander to unhelpful topics, so I like to focus my thoughts by occupying a portion of my concentration with a drawing. I've already come up with the general idea for my book, which involves a monk who has learned how to fool the Grim Reaper. I actually crafted an illustration a few weeks ago when I was pondering whether the concept had enough legs to occupy an entire novel. Pretty straightforward. The Grim Reaper looms behind the monk, who has one eye open, indicating he's aware of the Reaper's presence. While I already have the general concept and overall plot planned out, I don't yet have a grasp on all the characters, specifically their motivations and personal histories, so I decided to sketch a pivotal scene I imagined from the book. A murder has been committed, and the monk knows the victim. In fact, she was a billionaire CEO to whom he previously sold his supernatural services. He helped her escape death, but death found her nonetheless. To make matters worse, she's the third of his previous clients to meet this unfortunate fate. The monk can no longer write off this string of murders as a coincidence, and he realizes that the first person he helped escape death's grip is also at risk, his own mother. Now, while I'm drawing, I put on some music and consider the character's motivations. At its heart, this is a detective story in which a mother and son team up to save one another's lives, and perhaps uncover a sinister group that's unhappy the monk rediscovered their secret method of defying death. The emotional twist is that the mother actually hates her son, the monk, for what she sees as his choice to be gay, something she cannot help but despise given her upbringing. Now, this pains the monk and is what actually drove him to discover his talent for helping others escape death. He couldn't stomach the idea of his mother dying without first her having accepted him, so he took extreme measures to save her life when she fell grievously ill. Ironically, extending his mother's life has only served to strengthen her beliefs, so the monk must decide in this pivotal moment whether to once again save his spiteful mother or to allow her to perish. Much of what I've just described and lots more that I've written down in my notes are ideas I evolved while drawing. My iPad is littered with drawings like this, some of which I never share, while others I post to my Instagram and other places. By the time I'm done, I've thought of quite a number of plot and character-related things, which I then spew into a Scrivener document without editing or slowing down. Usually I write a few pages worth of notes. Sometimes an idea clicks or snaps into place among other notions I've been considering, and I get really excited because it fundamentally changes the plot in unexpected but beautiful ways. Other times there's just a page of useless ideas. All of this work has tamed my anxiety, but it's always there simmering in the background. As soon as I turn to another task, like cooking dinner or washing the dishes, it roars back into place. It's a constant struggle. Remaining asleep is particularly difficult since I have even less ability to direct my thought patterns during dreams, most of which are nightmares that jolt me awake, sweating with my heart pounding through my chest. Then the day begins anew. Writing, cooking, panicking, and so forth. Anyway, I had a lot of fun making this video, and if anyone winds up watching it, I'd love to hear in the comments about your internal struggles when it comes to productivity and writing. And do consider subscribing if you'd like to see more in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.